and we are recording. Hello, David. Good morning. Happy Saturday, and welcome to the SIYP Uncensored podcast show. How are you?
I am doing well. It's sunny outside, it's warm, and I am doing something to make some money.
Nice. It is sunny here, but
Yes.
it is hot here. It is 36 degrees right now. So I just
Ooh.
woke up from a nap. But yeah, do you want to start us off with your week? How's it going?
It's interesting. I've been having a hard time building up my shamanic healing practice, and I was talking to someone. She was just like, you know what? Why don't you actually do DoTerra? Like she does DoTerra herself,
Do
and
what,
she's also a
sorry?
healer. So DoTerra is essential oils, MLM, multi-level marketing.
Oh, okay.
But she said she was the way she's has me like looking at it is to use it to as a lead generator
Hmm. Okay.
because people who are interested in actually Melaleuca would also be that would be the start of a healing journey for someone through aromatherapy.
Hmm.
And there's also this iridology scan, so it reads your eyes,
Okay.
and your eyes, then it'll actually tell you what's going on within your body. And then when you know what's going on within your body, then it'll actually give suggestions for different essential oils to actually help correct that.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
it's a really fascinating way of looking at building up a building up a practice. So I'm excited about it actually.
Nice. When was this
And I'm also in the
introduced to you?
space of
Sorry.
this was introduced, I think it was Tuesday, Monday. I met her last week, and then we had our one-on-one on Monday, and then for some reason when I first thing I was started saying when I was speaking to her was just like, yeah, I gotta find work and blah 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 because I'm having a hard time building this. And that's when she the end of the conversation she goes, I want to have another conversation with you because I have an idea for you. And so we had another conversation, and that's what that was. So
Nice.
it's a really interesting way of looking at it. And what she does is she actually sells it in markets, the doTERRA.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just be in markets like talking to people all the time.
Nice. So you're actually just having
Yeah,
conversations,
exactly,
but
exactly.
through the
And then
product, which yeah.
where it can get people a little bit more comfortable, and then they would actually also get to know me a bit better.
Hmm. Nice.
Yeah. So what else has been going on? Same crap with still trying to find a way to actually pay my rent. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I believe it's going to work out good.
Yeah.
And it's going to take something. That's all.
How are
And
how
maybe
are
it takes nothing.
how are you dealing with all of that? Because it is something like to deal with. I mean, to work with, not deal
So
with.
so yeah. So actually, what I did was I actually looked at what homelessness is, and
Okay.
really, it's not about having to live in a tent or anything. You can stay at someone's place, and people do help you out. So and it's something and homelessness is something I've always been scared of. So I think that's why it's come up as well. Because now I actually have to actually choose it or not choose it. It's a step through that fear. Because if I choose it, then I'm stepping into the fear.
Yeah, it's beautifully what you said. It's fear. And I think also remember what we were talking about last time. It's where is this fear coming from? Like what is behind the fear? And like what I'm seeing in your conversation is something that I think all of us go through, which is a fear comes from something which could even be a label. So, like, when you said you looked
Mm.
into homelessness, like, usually a lot of people hear homelessness and they see, like, people on the street or people that don't have a place, but you looked into it and you could then see, like, where the fear is coming from. And it's a fear. That's it. It's just a fear. But then, if we take away the power that we might subconsciously put in the fear, or if we take away the judgment, which is like, oh, homelessness means I failed. If you take that away,
Mm,
you haven't failed.
that's right, because we also make it mean something
Yeah.
over this, over that, blah 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 blah, that crap.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another weird thing showed up too. Is just I went. There's this company called Cintas, and they're actually doing a bunch of interviews in one day, and you pick a time slot. And I just thought that was interesting. So you pick an interview slot, so you don't send your resume in and then hope for a hope hope that someone gives you a call. You're actually going there and then speaking with someone. So I also have a feeling about that one as well. It's just I don't know. It feels good. So who knows what's going to show up?
Okay.
And also there's another thing I also wanted to mention too is even being homeless, homelessness can actually also bring a lot of freedom because then you can actually choose where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I love the place where I'm at, the rent is super cheap and everything, but but there's also that freedom that maybe I'm not supposed to be in Toronto. Maybe I should be somewhere else, and maybe that's what's getting me to to fall behind. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I want
And
you.
when I'm
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I want you to keep going because
yeah, no, no,
my share is kind of similar to yours. So, yeah, go ahead.
no, I forget what I was going to say actually, which is memes.
If anything
Probably
else
make
came up for you.
no, I think I'm pretty complete right now.
Yeah. No, and this is beautiful because I again just piggybacking on what we did about 2 weeks ago because then Hazel was on the call also. Um, I think there's a lot to look into just in the field of awareness behind the fear and an awareness behind the judgment because through a label, like what creates a label is someone's point of view or a point of view of something creates a label, right? So you have the label of being rich, which could just simply mean like having financial stability, or it could be having more than $10 million. So based on that judgment, it could create something and have someone be in motion, or it could have like a positive thing, or it could have a negative where it's like, oh, if I don't make 10 million, then I'm not rich, and that could like backfire. So I think what's really great is, all of these words, even on your share, when you said homelessness, I'm like, but I don't see David as homeless. And then I needed to go into and look at what is my label of homelessness. And it wasn't very, I mean, to be very honest, it wasn't very powerful. It was more like a fear. It was more a conversation, not built on, wow, David can be free from his walls and create a possibility. It wasn't that. It was, oh my God, David's gonna be like, I need to be sad for David. He's not going to. He's like, But then when you said at the end, like, these things show up, it could literally be because you don't have that judgment, you don't have that point of view label you in compared to us giving a label, it's that label taking over. You can literally create whatever. And what does whatever look like? Whatever. Anything.
Yeah,
So
and every fall I would be every fall, so every October, September, October, I would actually step into the worrying about having to be homeless that year, always, every single year. So this is just about, I believe, getting it out of my system,
mm,
seeing it for what it truly is. And also, when we label something, we also it also has us starting to become that. So if we're holding on to the label of homelessness, then that's actually what's going to start showing up in our life is the fear of homelessness and then eventually probably homelessness
Yeah,
because we're becoming it.
the example I always use that uh, brings it clear what you're talking about is people that always say even after they go to the doctor they're like no 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 I'm sick I don't feel good and then it turns out that they end up being sick like even if the doctor's like no no you're fine so yeah so basically in my share this week was salaries week so kind of similar to what you're saying every time salaries come out it's like I get paid at 11:35. Okay. And it's interesting because sometimes if at 11:35 I don't get paid, I'm like, oh, my finances are all over the place and what am I gonna do? Like, but I have money. So it's just like but I allowed myself to live in that label and but luckily that didn't happen this time, but now I've like built into that. Um, with all of this, there's work that is picking up. There is still me and Rebecca looking at getting married to help with my security here. There's still my mom that doesn't have her passport. There's still all of this, right? But with things that opened up this week, one thing that I noticed this week was there is improvement and I just want to see it like there is stepping into power because in the past it would always be like very interestingly what you're sharing it's like me living in that label so it's like oh if I made x amount last month and this month I've made almost 10% of what my ex was like how, like where did I go wrong? Where did I? And this time I was like, oh, there's money there. So I looked at what I've been creating, which has been this gradual, like very baby steps, but it's still baby steps. I looked at that, and my mom's birthday is today, so I was able to surprise her with flowers. I went grocery shopping, um, was able to get a couple days of the week to stabilize work, where in the past I would be like, oh, work is so annoying, and all of that. So, with this new thing of realizing where the fear is because I was really moved by what you said 2 weeks ago, which is being aware of the fear. You shared about like the finances and your if it came from your family or all of that. And I've just been looking at trying to see what's behind the fear and doing that with work, doing that with my finances, doing that with my family. It still hasn't got me to figure out anything. I mean I haven't figured out what my future is gonna look like, but at least in the now, I am at peace ish. Does that make sense? Like I'm not too overwhelmed, and yeah, that's just like the main thing this week. It was just like, even today, like I was telling David before we started recording, I was like, oh, what am I gonna share this week? Like I'm tired. It's hot. I'm sleeping. Like if people can see, I'm like half asleep. Um, but then I was thinking about,
I can't see that.
oh, you can't.
I
It,
I can't see that you're half asleep, even though you told me that you're half asleep.
It's probably yeah. No, you see, this is what happens when we step into your our power and we're just, excited in possibility. But no, I have been uploading our videos to our YouTube channel, which I'll put a link in the Spotify. Um, our YouTube views are more than our Spotify podcast.
Okay. Well, probably because just falls into. I wonder if it just falls into people's feeds and then
Yeah, so we're getting more views. They're like 20, 30 views or 50 views on our old videos and So,
nice.
so I was just like, if we didn't have the call because last week we were not on the call and I was responsible for that. Yes, um, I was just like, no, let's
Um,
share.
so 1 second there. You just fumbled through that. You just mumble, I'm responsible for. So that you're there's something there for you.
There is something, yeah. So it's like an interesting share. There is something because you know, and that's what I'm talking about this week. This week, it still had me not live in that label. That's why when you were sharing, I was like, yeah, your share is very similar to mine. this week specifically, I've started taking on realizing there's a label, whether I've created the label or there is a label, and I was living that label versus me realizing there's a label and still doing what I wanted to do. That's why like I'm on this call. But last week, for example, um, when we were trying to make the call work, because some viewers know Hazel cannot make the calls. So when I couldn't make it, I was like, yeah, yeah, it's good to cancel. It's good to cancel the call. What's the point? You know, like, what's the point of sharing it? But then I was like, no. So now the reason why I'm here is because it's just like, I, this is the version of me that I want to do versus just being lazy or living in that label. Like, what's the point? And ironically,
Like,
you know how. Wait, sorry, just one last thing I wanted to say.
yeah,
You know, like how you're saying it's probably maybe these things are showing up like the interview and everything. It's showing up to tell you something. Like maybe you're not supposed to be in Toronto. Maybe a lot of the things I've been seeing this week are people challenging their status, like their whatever their label is. I wouldn't call it a status, their label. And then like it's a lot of YouTube videos, let's say, but people going above their label, their judgment, and creating things. Like the last video I saw was someone who started with $1 and flipped it, and in 5 days, doubled it to $1,000 in the States in like 6 7 days.
wow,
Yeah, they went to just to the store, bought water, and sold it. But they did these things where their label was like all the people that just want to be stuck. They were like, go out and do something. So I'm like, okay, like let me try doing something different, and that's why it's baby steps. But yes, last week, absolutely, I went into my label. I went into my it doesn't make sense doing this, so like my giving up phase,
yeah.
which doesn't help.
I forget what was I forget what I was going to say before.
Yeah, but okay, Mel. Maybe if it comes back, just go ahead with it. But
Yeah,
no, I think there's a lot of power, or at least in the awareness, which I think is what we're creating. And I think a lot of people who might be listening to this too can relate to that too. That if we just sit in a label or even in a judgment, be it something that helps us, the more we stay there, we're not moving forward.
yeah, that's true. That's true. It's actually getting us more into our label.
And labels are good. Sometimes they do help. Like they're not all negative. They do help, but we need to know when to not fall into it.
Well, it's also like what label do you want to create? What label do you really want? Like for example, the bodybuilding. So I consider myself in the bodybuilding community. So that's what I want because if I don't, well, how am I going to become Mr. Olympia? So I can't if I don't take on the label of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Now
And
I need to become a body.
similarly also the label of like being rich, right? If that's really something I want, like having the financial stability, I need something to get into it. But then where I could be falling into it is if I'm 10% short, it does not equal to me being a failure. Like it was still 10% short, but like it's still great. It's just how we govern the label, because it sometimes then it goes from
And
judgment to fear.
and what does rich really mean?
Sorry, I
That's something to look at as well. What does rich really mean?
exactly,
Does
yeah.
it only mean money? Is it what is it?
Yeah, I
And
think
are we buying it? Are we buying into it because someone else says that we should buy into it, or is it something that we truly want?
hmm and I think also like all of these questions, like is it someone else saying it or is that someone else me? Because I think sometimes the most powerful things that can make or break us are ourselves. Like sometimes we don't even realize that we set these things. Like like for me, the homelessness topic was yes
Mhm.
something that I was exposed to because I grew up like all over the world also, But then a lot on the media shows homelessness in such a like a not positive uh, label. So when you said that, I was just like, oh my god! Even the oh my god should be something I question.
Why?
Like, why should it be like an oh my god, like I'm worried? Why can't it be like trusting the process?
Yeah, that makes sense because we've already lived this life once,
Hmm.
and we're just living it twice because
Yeah.
we live it once through our thoughts, our which is our creation, and we just trust the whole process.
And also thinking about that, it's very interesting because sometimes we know that our thought process might create an outcome we don't necessarily like. Like sometimes we know that while we're going through that fear, we could foresee a non-existent future, and sometimes I know that what I'm fearful of is something I don't like, but I go into it, and then it brings us back to the conversation, like the person being sick. It's just like when you live in that label, you kind of create that label, and sometimes I know that the label I'm creating is scary, but I'm just like, at least being aware of it allows me to detach from it sooner, because before I didn't know I was aware of it, but now at least now, like, I was able, yes, I did go like oh my god to you, but then I'm like, wait a second, right in that moment I was just like, okay, you could do something else. Like, who knows, maybe Toronto's not for you, but you have the world that's available to you, and we still have
Maybe
youth.
you'll be my roommate, and I'll move to Athens.
We have a room. Do you see, like, we have a spare room, baby, baby, there we go. But yeah, it's just possibility. It's just possibility. And sometimes I always say possibility literally comes from nothing.
Yes, actually, that's what I that's my belief is. Um, uh, so if you take a piece of paper, draw a circle, and in that circle is all possibility, and we write down all of our labels in that realm of possibility, and you'll realize that all the labels that we create actually knock out so many other different possibilities that we may actually have wanted. So to have all possibilities, we need to actually get rid of all the labels. When we get rid of all the labels, then we can become all possibilities. Um,
Hmm.
and if there's, for example, like for me, stepping into like the 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 label of bodybuilding, that's important because then it allows me to become that bodybuilder.
Yeah, I think
So it's
it's
really what
just
we want instead
yeah.
of the fears.
And then again, like it's a dog who chases their tail. I mean, we can't exist without the judgment, which then creates a fear that then has us detached from it to then come from possibility, which would then probably come with the judgment, which then come with the fear. I think again, just being aware of, like, like how they say, like, you can't ride a bike without falling at least a couple times. Like it is expected you fall. Even in that statement, it should be like, don't be scared to fall, but then don't fall too many times. Like,
And then that's a judgment as well. Is it falling too many times? What's too many times? Is it one too many times? Is it 100 or 1,000 times too many
well,
times?
I think more like, if you're aware you're gonna fall, don't do it. So like, it's again the, if you're aware of what's causing the fear, like, okay, I've done this kind of job, I've done this kind of project, and it didn't make me successful. Here's the opportunity, here's the possibility again, and you don't go into the awareness of you've done it before, then it's like you're kind of living in the label. You're kind of living in the pattern. It could then be like challenging that awareness and being like, okay, I've done this before. It didn't serve me. What else is possible?
Yes, that's actually very good.
Because I feel a
So you can
lot
step
of
in
us,
something new.
you're stepping into something new. And it's okay, because there might be a fear. You don't know what the new is, but you're okay with doing it anyway, because you're like, what do you have to lose? You've done this before. You know that it didn't go well. So you know you got on the bike, you fell. Maybe riding a bike is not for you anymore. So try something else. What is something else? I'm scared. Do it. and give up the judgment attached with it because it hasn't happened.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
think that,
yeah. Because the judgment is just something that we created.
it's what we're creating now for a non-existent future. So I think me doing that a lot this week was one thing that I really love about it, and I don't think you can ever put a cost to this, is just the freedom from like my mental stress, because I always have like this headache that comes from me over worrying or over fearful or way too much in the labels. It stresses me out. And I think maybe that's why my body took a nap. Like I remember my fiance came home and I was like, I just want to take a nap, and I took a nap. But like in the past I would be like, oh, what does that mean? Am I gonna upset myself? Am I gonna upset her or something? And I was just like, no, I'm just taking a nap. So it gives me a lot of peace of mind. But if I sleep too long and I don't do this call, then no, then that doesn't work. Yeah.
I thought that was too funny that you might upset your girlfriend if you have it happen.
Well,
I just thought that
that's
was interesting.
well. By the way, she's not my girlfriend; she's my fiance. But like, yeah, I mean, no, it's just kind of the
Oh,
thing.
okay, your fiance.
Yeah, it's just kind of this thing, but it's a fear. It's a fear again, right? So if I didn't get up and I was like, no, I'm just gonna live in that. I'm aware that it's gonna create a fear, but then if I do it anyway, no shit, I'm gonna be yelled at. So I was like, get up and do it anyway. Who knows what's gonna happen on this call? And this call is beautiful.
Yeah, and the fear, if you stepped into that fear of the girlfriend of your fiance, then it would have shown up as well. So
Yeah, it would have done. Not only would have like, and this is not me saying I control the future, but it's a given. Like, this is what I was saying. Like in the past, I know, or we have a feeling that our fear might unfold in reality, but we still choose to do it anyway. We do it like consciously or subconsciously. Like honestly, if I slept in, not only would I wouldn't have this call, but then there is an opportunity for my fiance to be mad at me. But I'm aware of it. So it's just doing something else and not expecting the judgment.
and you would have had a crappy snap too, because all of that would have been in your mind as well while you're napping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I had a nice nap. It was a nice nap. Anyway,
Nice.
I am complete.
I am complete as well.
Same time next week, David?
Yes, same time next week.
I am going to channel some positive vibes, and whoever listens, and to our 50 odd YouTube viewers and podcasters, I think everyone's rooting for you for that for positivity in the interviews, and this new possibility, and yeah, just in your journey.
I like. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.